For decades, Canada and the United States have enjoyed one of the world's strongest trade partnerships, with billions of dollars in goods and services flowing across their shared border daily. The two nations have long worked together to foster economic growth, stability, and cooperation. However, in an unexpected and aggressive move, former U.S. President Donald Trump disrupted this relationship by imposing tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum, claiming national security concerns. The decision sent shockwaves through Canada's economy, threatening major industries, jobs, and the fundamental principles of free trade between the two allies. But Canada wasn't going to sit back and accept this blow to its economy. Instead, it responded with force, announcing a set of retaliatory tariffs designed to hit back at key American industries. This marked a turning point in Canada-US trade relations, proving that Canada was willing to defend its economic interests, even against its closest ally. Trump's controversial tariffs on Canada. In 2018, under the Trump administration, the U.S. imposed a 25% tariff on Canadian steel and a 10% tariff on Canadian aluminum under Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act. The justification: national security concerns. Trump argued that an over-reliance on foreign metals, including those from Canada, could weaken America's industrial base and leave it vulnerable in times of crisis. For Canada, this claim was both insulting and unjustified. Canada was not just a major trading partner but also a military ally, standing alongside the U.S. in every major conflict in modern history. The idea that Canadian metals posed a security risk was met with fierce criticism from Canadian officials, economists, and business leaders. The impact was immediate. Canada's steel and aluminum industries, which exported more than $14 billion worth of products to the U.S. annually, faced increased costs and reduced competitiveness in their largest market. Thousands of Canadian jobs were at risk, and businesses that relied on steel and aluminum imports also faced rising costs. Despite protests and diplomatic negotiations, Trump refused to back down, forcing Canada to take a strong and strategic approach to protect its economy. A carefully calculated retaliation. Faced with an economic threat, Canada had no choice but to fight back. In a calculated move, the Canadian government, led by then Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, announced a set of retaliatory tariffs on American goods. These tariffs were not chosen at random. They were strategically designed to apply maximum pressure on the U.S. economy, particularly in key political and economic areas. Key products targeted by Canada's tariffs. 1. U.S. steel and aluminum products, directly targeting the American metal industry in response to Trump's tariffs. 2. Agricultural goods, including ketchup, orange juice, and dairy products, hitting industries in key Republican-leaning states like Wisconsin and Florida. 3. Consumer goods, household appliances, recreational products, and even toilet paper were taxed, increasing costs for American manufacturers and consumers. These measures were not just about economic pressure, they were also political. By targeting products from states that were critical to Trump's voter base, Canada aimed to create internal, political pressure within the U.S. to reverse the tariffs. The hope was that American businesses and workers would push lawmakers to reconsider Trump's aggressive trade policies. The economic and political fallout. As expected, the retaliatory tariffs hit both economies hard. American manufacturers who relied on Canadian materials faced higher costs, leading to job losses and rising prices for consumers. Small businesses in the U.S. that depended on Canadian trade also suffered, creating mounting frustration among industries that had previously thrived under free trade agreements like NAFTA. On the Canadian side, businesses had to adapt quickly, looking for alternative markets and supply chains to mitigate the damage. Some industries saw temporary slowdowns, but Canada's strong trade ties with other global partners helped soften the impact. The dispute also took a significant political toll. Relations between Canada and the U.S. became strained, with public and political figures openly criticizing Trump's trade tactics. Trudeau and his administration pushed back against the rhetoric, standing firm in their commitment to defending Canada's interests. Even within the U.S., Trump's tariffs faced backlash from lawmakers and business leaders who warned of the long-term consequences of a trade war with Canada. An NAFTA renegotiation and resolution. While the trade war intensified tensions, it also set the stage for broader trade negotiations. The conflict over tariffs became a crucial part of the renegotiation of the North American Free Trade Agreement NAFTA, which was replaced by the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement USMCA in 2020. As part of the negotiations, Trump eventually lifted the steel and aluminum tariffs in 2019, marking a significant victory for Canada. The retaliatory tariffs had played a role in forcing the U.S. to rethink its strategy, proving that Canada's tough stance had been effective. The USMCA agreement, while not perfect, helped restore some stability in North American trade, ensuring that Canada and the U.S. could continue their economic partnership without the constant threat of unilateral tariffs. Canada's tough but necessary decision. Canada's decision to fight back against Trump's tariffs was not an easy one, but it was necessary. By implementing retaliatory tariffs, Canada sent a clear message it would not be bullied into accepting unfair trade policies, even from its most powerful ally. The move demonstrated Canada's ability to stand up for its economy, protect its industries, and defend its workers. It also proved that even in the face of aggressive economic policies, diplomacy combined with strategic countermeasures can force change. Today, the lessons from this trade dispute serve as a reminder of the importance of strong trade policies, economic resilience, and the power of standing firm against unfair practices. While the tensions of the Trump era may have faded, Canada's response to his tariffs remains a defining moment in modern trade history, one that showcased the country's determination to protect its national interests at all costs. What comes next? With new global economic challenges on the horizon and shifting political landscapes in both countries, Canada must remain vigilant. Future U.S. administrations could once again test the strength of this economic partnership. The question remains, will Canada be ready to respond as decisively as it did before?